What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you have a great day, morning, noon, night, whatever it is for you guys. Hope you're having the best day possible. So today, guys, we're going to be changing it up a hair. So we've done quite a bit of lore videos, guys. And so I'm starting to get a handle on the Warhammer universe. Maybe not everything so far, but at least the 40K universe I am starting to get a handle on. Anything really before the 40K, the Horus Heresy, yeah, it's still learning that. So we're gonna switch it up a little bit for you guys. You've been asking for different stuff, so we're gonna be doing Star Wars versus Warhammer. That sounds interesting as crap. Now, guys, I know y'all want me to watch the Emperor TTS text-to-speech, but I've heard I should probably hold off on that for just a little bit longer, just because some of the jokes might still go over my head because I'm not too fluent in everything in Warhammer. So, guys, with that being said, we're going to jump right on into it for you. Star Wars versus Warhammer 40K. A fan with too much time. Is that possible? I don't think so. But you ready for this, you guys? Let's get into it. Ready? This video is not monetized. Mine either. The independent properties of Star Wars and Warhammer 40K are the sole property of Disney and Games Workshop. Respect. Please support the official release.
The Emperor, for he is the salvation of mankind.
Guys, I hope this is loud enough for you, because I can barely hear myself talking. My crap's peeking in the red over here. So, I'm hoping we fix the volume. Let me know. Star Wars.
Let us begin.
40K.
Let us begin.
Stars dance in the eyes of the Emperor, and
Stars
roll in
dance
the
in the eyes
palms
of the
of
Emperor,
dark gods.
and roll in the
Chapter Master
palms of
Orion
the dark
Phaedrus had heard
gods.
such words before, and often they were followed by tales of ships arriving at their destinations before ever leaving for them. Stories about entire battle fleets traversing time in both directions at the apparent whims of the boiling warp. But he had never, in his 700 years of service to the Emperor, heard or read of anything quite like this.
Nothing.
Confirm
quite
these
like
reports.
these.
He ordered, his mind wary of demonic deceptions and alien illusions.
Demonic.
The large man kneeling before his throne
illusions.
seemed to wince at that, raising his head to plead and speak.
We already have, my lord.
The astrogator said, exasperation thick in every syllable that slid from his wet lips.
8 times before it was reported to me, and then I personally verified it 10 times before bringing this report to the captain. My peers verified it 5 additional times when it was decided to bring this to you. With respect, your beneficence, there isn't any more verification we can do with our current instruments and personnel.
We did all we could do.
What exactly are you suggesting? The ancient, half-machine warrior king asked, his voice as cold and calm as frigid steel. His head astrogator sputtered. He was a wide man, fat, and Orion had never had cause to speak with his current head astrogator personally.
Fat.
The man was known for being
That's me.
marginally more competent than he was shamefully corpulent, and given that he required servo limbs to aid in carrying his anemic bulk around the ship, he was a fairly good astrogator.
His anemic body through the
I
ship.
think we need to get closer.
He finally managed, mopping at his sweat-laden brow with a red cloth.
We must land within the nearest detectable system and verify what we are seeing with our own hands, if not our eyes.
The chapter master said nothing, leaving the man kneeling and sweating before his throne for almost a minute. Gradually, he nodded. "Return to your station,"
Now I'm
he ordered,
confused. How
and
are
the
we
mortal
going to
kneeling
combine
before him wasted no time in obeying,
these two
hoisting
universes?
himself off the ground with his spider-like assembly and shuffling from the metal antechamber that served as Orion's command center and bridge. A scant second after the astrogator had removed himself from view, Company Captain Aurelian Tex approached the command throne, saluting smartly to his commander. He was the youngest captain by far, barely cresting over 100 standard years of service. He was a prodigy within the chapter, a genius with a sword, and an equally proficient
100 years
pilot
of
and
service.
gunner.
Damn, how old is he?
As was typical within their order, the chapter master took some pains to keep the young captain close, both to mentor the man and to judge him.
Ah,
"What do you make of it?"
keep your
the Marine
friends close.
asked.
Keep your
Orion
enemies
did not speak,
closer.
did not answer at all for a moment, as plans and probabilities boiled behind his yellow eyes. Eventually he broke from his contemplation to ask his own question. "Is Keela still incapacitated?" The captain of the third company shrugged his shoulders with a soft, mechanical sigh. His face looked sour suddenly as he was made to contemplate the words of that mutant woman. "The navigator isn't in critical condition any longer," he said curtly. "But," the chapter master pressed, sensing more behind his subordinate's words.
But what?
"But she hasn't stopped crying. She insists that the Emperor is...
What?
that he must be... don't," the
Dead?
chapter master warned softly.
A
The
demon?
captain nodded and quickly
He does look
changed
like a
the
demon.
subject. "So, what do you make of it?" he asked again. Orion rose from his command throne, carefully lifting the sacred blade, the mighty Serpentis Venandi, as he strode over to one of the large, glowing hololithic displays. This one displayed the galaxy, and indicated their current position several light years
displayed.
beyond its languidly turning borders. "I cannot be certain, but my eyes are honed and often find the truth, and the truth that I perceive, the yield of my vigilance, appears to reveal that either something has utterly remade the galaxy in a way that was previously unthinkable to us, or when
Is
we
it
tried to breach
some
that
Dark
thin
Age tech?
tendril of the Cicatrix Maledictum, the warp flung us to the border of an entirely different galaxy, perhaps even a different dimension entirely."
Interesting.
The captain looked at the
interesting.
same hololith, coming to stand beside his master. His brows furrowed, and Orion knew without looking at him that he disagreed, even before the younger demigod spoke. "Is there perhaps not another answer?" the captain asked. "I can see that the Eye of Terror is not present, but does that really indicate that we are within a whole different galactic disk? Is it not possible that we were merely lost within the warp for a much longer period of time than we expected, and that the Imperium conquered the warp while we were gone?"
Probably
Orion
not.
shook his head.
Prob-
"It
probably
is not the lack of the miserable Eye of Terror that I find unbelievable. It is the missing Astronomicon that makes me think we cannot be looking upon our home."
Okay.
The captain
yeah,
shrugged.
Probably
Perhaps
not.
it is just blocked. Such things have happened
Probably
on the
not.
far side of the Cicatrix Maledictum. Orion laughed at that, a bitter, unamused sound.
You're
A
wrong.
fine theory, but blocked by what? The eye is gone, the tear with it. Other things could... the captain started to say. "Crew," Orion interjected. "Play the audio of the chief navigator's words.
Yeah,
the
let's
last
hear
words
it.
she spoke before we had to drag her out of her nest." At this, the crew hesitated. "My lord, are you sure?" asked one
Yeah.
of the bridge officers.
I told you once.
Orion nodded.
Do it.
"Everyone present has heard it before. Your faith should not be so weak that you cannot bear to hear it again." At his prompting, the officer complied, adjusting some of the controls upon the panel he sat before. In short order, the voice of Keela Shastrava began to bleat over the voxcasters on the bridge, her words retched between bouts of sobbing and shuddering sorrow.
So this is the Warhammer universe.
"By the
First.
weeping stars I can see For the first time I can see, and my sight blinds me. Woe to us! Woe to the world and the universe! For my eyes can see all, and yet the light of the Emperor has faded completely. Woe! Woe to us! For our Lord in the stars shines no longer. Woe! We are made orphans, for our Father has died.
Sounds like a billy goat. Bah.
Impossible. Stars danced at his command, rolled in the palms of his hands, and yet those deceitful little specks had hidden something from him, something enormous, something which could shift the careful balance he had spent the last 4 years creating.
Yeah, who they think they
And
is?
the worst part about it was that he didn't even know, at least not yet, what precisely they had hidden from his sight. Palpatine had been informed of the unexpected gravitational disturbances by a mid-level hyperlane service report. Hundreds of thousands of ancient hyperlane buoys, most of which had been presumed to be underpowered and non-functional, had come alive nearly all at once.
Okay.
The report showed a cascading effect originating from a point in space a few hundred light-years away from Pazab, a backwater world at the very edge of the outermost part of the Outer Rim. The fact that Pazab had no buoys around it only emphasized the unprecedented nature of the disturbance.
Then why they all come
But
online
this
at
was
once?
not something that would have drawn his attention normally. The Dark Lord of the Sith was only marginally interested in space anomalies and phenomenon, and not at all if they could not expand his knowledge of the Force or be turned to function within his design. A curiosity, and nothing more. That is what anyone reading this report would have drawn from it. But
Curious.
Palpatine had known about the
Very
disturbance
curious.
well before the report had been delivered to him, for he had felt
There's
it
a
through a
shift
different vector.
in the
The
Force.
Force.
Ah,
Something dark had just entered into the near boundaries of his soon-to-be-claimed galactic
what do we
domain.
think is darker?
Something which
Star Wars
screamed and
or
howled in
Warhammer?
voices the dark side had never used before.
I'm gonna say
Palpatine
Warhammer.
knew it could only mean one thing. Rivals. Grim
Rivals.
forces of a darker galaxy had arrived to stake a claim on what was his. And the sense of them made him feel a power which he had been loath to use before. The intoxicating strength of fear added itself to his arsenal, for what he sensed now was no mere chaff to be blown away, no Jedi-like force to abuse and deceive.
Nah.
Crawling ever closer, he sensed a threat he had thought silenced forever when his crackling power had executed the drunk and foolish Sith Lord who had called himself Palpatine's master. The threat of other masters of the dark side, and the
Wasn't
plurality
that
he felt
Darth
approaching only
Tyrannus?
heightened the sense of danger
I
he now
can't
perceived.
remember.
But even though he had already
this is
felt
right.
it, the
I
report
think
was
I'll catch it.
important, vital in fact. Because while Darth Sidious was a master of the dark side and deeply attuned to such things, Sheev Palpatine, kindly Chancellor of the embattled Galactic Republic, was most decidedly not. Initially he thought to wait until the Jedi brought the matter to him, thinking they too would sense the arrival of the oncoming threat. But as days dragged by, Sidious found himself vexed by his own competence. He had blinded the Jedi, and had done so with a great amount of intention. Even
Yeah.
sitting within his room, speaking with him, surrounded by his dwarty statues, the Jedi could not catch even a whiff of his true nature. While he was a great deal more subtle than these newcomers, he was also a great deal closer to the Jedi, and these outsiders had not even entered the galaxy yet. By the time the Jedi realized the threat, it would destroy them, just as surely as Sidious himself would have. and that would not do.
Execute Order 66.
Thus, the report.
And you really think this deserves this kind of attention?
Asked the Jedi Knight Renfai. Palpatine smiled calmly and nodded, completely negating his desire to scrunch his nose at the hissing, slurring accent of the Trandoshan Jedi before him. It was bad enough to be a pathetic, parasitic reptile warming itself on the power of the Republic. Did it also need to be a Trandoshan as well? Most likely not, but I would like to be sure.
I feel like
These
you
readings are quite
got a little
unprecedented,
racy side to
and
you.
it stokes my anxiety to simply allow whatever is causing them to pass us by unobserved, he said, fingers folded in front of him on his wide desk.
I suppose,
The Jedi said.
but why clones?
Because
Why
they
not
follow
send a
my
survey
orders,
team
not
instead?
yours.
He added. The impertinent fool.
Yep.
Oh, I shall send scientists and researchers with you as well, the Chancellor assured. But it is unprecedented, so I would not send them out there without protection. Besides, we can never
Protection.
underestimate the enemy we are currently
Yeah,
facing.
sure.
Even if the Separatists have nothing to do with what caused these readings, they have buoys of their own. I
Filthy
cannot rule out the
Separatists.
possibility that they will also attempt their own
They're
investigation.
gathering on Mustafar.
The Jedi considered for a second before nodding his assent.
I see the wisdom in this,
He said.
Yeah.
Good, good, Palpatine added.
Good.
Then I'd be glad to send you on your way as quickly as
Now
possible.
get outta here.
Like I said, we don't want this phenomenon to pass us by. I already have a science team picked out and ready to go. How many battalions do you command currently?
currently
17. 2.
Make it 4. I'll have you reinforced before you leave.
Aye,
The Jedi
Captain.
gave a shallow bow of respect, and Sheev smiled.
Thank you, Chancellor.
He said, Please, do not mention it. Simply promise me that you will take care to remain safe.
That's
Odd
sly
things are
dog.
said to linger near the edge of the galaxy. Our war is maybe a month from its close. I'd not have you miss it because of a tragedy on the frontier. Keep your men close about you. The knight nodded.
I will, Chancellor. Do you
Oh,
truly
yes.
believe it might end so fast?
Yeah.
Sheev leaned back and smiled.
Don't you worry.
Trust
my young
me,
friend.
my Jedi friend. I am an expert in such sorry things as war and peace. These matters can move suddenly, and mark my words, it will be over before you know it.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Alrighty, guys. Well, that was Star Wars versus Warhammer 40K Part 1. You know, I'm going to assume it's going to be... I think there was 18 episodes that I saw are up so far. Obviously, with any good story, you should probably give some backstory on some characters so you can have some character development. You know, let's build the story up. So, understandable. Not as crazy in the first episode, but I'm assuming there's a crossover of the universes. And that is what Palpatine is feeling, and that's what the people on the ship are seeing with the eyes, that the beacon isn't there anymore, and they're just somewhere else. Interesting. Curious to see how this is gonna play out. Is the Sith and the Jedi gonna team up and then fight the Warhammer universe, or is the Warhammer universe gonna team up with the Sith and fight the Jedi? I don't know what's gonna happen, but this, like I said, sounds pretty cool so far. But with that being said, guys, that's gonna be the end of this video. If you like this video and want me to continue with this series, you know, just let me know. We'll keep rolling with it for you guys. But that's the end of the video for tonight. Peace, love, happiness to you. Before you head out that door, let's go ahead and beat up the like and subscribe button, because you know we're almost at 1,000. Let's try to get there together. And guys, y'all have a great rest of your night. Peace, love, happiness to you. And always, guys, be easy. Love y'all.